Hello everyone. I told you we were going to have somebody with us today, and we have Kim. So it's way better than talking to myself because, I mean, I like to talk a lot, but you know, it's nice to have somebody to actually talk to.
Talk a lot too.
So yeah, we're a good pair for this.
Yeah.
So this way, if you have questions, not just for me, but for Kim, or if Kim has questions while we're doing it, you'll be able to be here in the real live time and see how this goes. So once again, it's Cooking for Health sessions because I'm wanting you to learn how to make things that are quick, fast, easy, healthy, that everybody will like. I know some people have trouble with the husbands and the kids, with things that they'll actually eat. And they'll turn their nose up at it, but then when you turn around, what they're doing is eating your stuff out of the refrigerator and you don't have any left for leftovers. But we're trying to trick them a little bit. So this is a really quick, easy meal because I know right now a lot of people are in sports, you're getting home from work, you've got all kinds of things going on. But this is super quick, super easy, and really good. And if your man likes mushrooms, I'm sure he's gonna like this. So we are actually doing chicken with this one also. So not just vegetables, we're doing some chicken. So it is our garlic sauteed mushrooms and spinach and chicken breast. And I'm gonna let Kim do the work. We're just gonna talk our way through it. So we have our pan that's all heated up there. So we don't need the lid for this. So I'll take that off for you. So first thing we're gonna do is go ahead and put our oil in there. Because the big thing with this recipe that we're doing is, I want you to see, like when we do garlic, to make sure that it doesn't burn too much. So a lot of you can throw a recipe together and not really think much about it. But when it comes to like, okay, well, how long to cook the garlic? Or how do I do this? Or what do I do that? How do I know it's done? That's kind of what this whole purpose is too, instead of just following a recipe.
And now, does overcooking the garlic, does that take any of the nutrients away or not with garlic?
No, it just makes it taste better.
Okay, all right.
So let's put the oil in and see how it sizzles. Just kind of cover the bottom of your pan.
Okay.
That's good. Because with this recipe, we want to do that. We want a good bit of olive oil in there because we're going to be doing all the mushrooms and spinach and the chicken with it also.
Okay.
So we're going to go and put that in. Put a little bit in first to see how hot it is. All right. So that sizzle is a good sizzle. So while that is starting, stir that around.
Oh, it smells
Delicious.
Oh, I love garlic.
All right, I'll take this.
Okay.
And so while that works, so we were talking earlier about what if we needed a knife, if we needed this, if we needed that. Well, no, because we're good. Oh, this is perfect, Katie. So this is how the garlic looks. Because you see how it's like browned and it's bubbly there? And that's not too hot, not too burnt. That's just the way we want it. So now is where we start dumping in our stuff. So we're just going to take our spinach and just throw it all in there.
Yeah, because we're not going to have much after that, though.
No, spinach really cooks up. And then we're going to pop out our stems on these and just throw them in after you pop them out.
All right.
See how easy this is?
This is easy.
So we've already washed those, and we're going to, like I said, take the stems out of them. They're portobello mushrooms. So anytime you do one of the darker mushrooms like this, or the they've got a lot more flavor to them, and they have a lot more nutrients.
Okay.
So
better than button, then, is what you're saying.
Yes, because the white ones, they do have benefits. They're good for lowering cholesterol, the white ones.
Okay.
But as far as like the fiber and the taste and like how hearty they are and the flavor, there's not as much. So stir that all around. We want to make sure that we have enough olive oil on that. So olive oil, or you can also use coconut oil if you want to.
This, like this, these look like almost like when they get done will be like meat almost, right?
Yes, and so that's the thing with mushrooms is they're like a meat substitute.
Yeah.
They have folic acid in them. They have the fiber in them. They have all kinds of anti-inflammatory properties.
Oh, yeah.
And then let's get some salt and pepper on there.
Okay.
And we've also determined that Kim doesn't measure anything either.
Yeah.
So we're just the cooks to kind of like put everything on there. Just shake it the way you like it. I like pepper.
I do too.
And then the other big thing with this is Worcestershire sauce.
Okay.
So this is what makes it that meaty, hearty. So like a steak.
Yeah.
So if you think about a steak, you can do a mushroom like you would do a steak.
Right. I've done that before, like with the big giant ones, made like a burger.
Okay. So just dump it all over.
Just dump it. Okay.
So the recipes always have like amounts on it, but literally I just dump it all over. And so it's covered all of it. Yeah, and it's down there in the bottom of the pan. That looks so good.
It smells delicious.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. All right. And so we're going to use one pan. Because that's the other thing is, nobody likes cleaning up. So we
Right.
can turn the heat up on that a little bit more now. Put it up to about the 4.
4? Okay.
There we go. So now we just kind of push all that over to the side.
Okay.
And we're gonna put our chicken breast in there. And so this is gonna cook at the same time.
And these are normal chicken breasts. These are not Food Lion or Walmart's. Sorry.
Oh, there you
But
go.
they're crazy.
Yeah, they are. And that's the ones that are all loaded up with hormones.
So you don't recommend
And then do a little.
those at all?
I don't, when you get stuff, you wanna make sure that it's organic. Because when it's organically farmed, that means they don't put all of that stuff in there.
Right. Okay.
Now the other thing I do is I take that and I go ahead and make my chicken, like rub it all in all the
Okay.
juices. And then I flip it back around so that it's, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. And then I just let it simmer there. And then we can kind of keep stirring the mushrooms and that up a little bit as we need to.
You're also a messy cook.
Me too. So now, if we're talking like the whole food handlers deal, food safety,
No.
you typically wouldn't probably put everything in the same pan if you're worried about salmonella or that kind of thing. But this is kind of like, this isn't cooking for the restaurant. This is cooking for home.
Right.
And this is real life. This is, I want one pan to clean and that's it. So I do kind of take the stuff and separate it to the sides, but we're eating the whole thing together because when that chicken is done, what we're doing is taking the mushrooms and the spinach and putting it over top of it. And you know how I like food to be pretty? Like,
Yeah.
I want everything to be pretty because it just tastes better that way.
Right.
So what we'll do is we'll put a little bit of the stuff down on the pan plate first, then we'll put the chicken on top of it, and then we'll put the rest of the mushrooms and the spinach on top of that. So then it looks beautiful, and you wouldn't want to eat it. And it's so good. Like, there's hardly any calories in this,
I was gonna say.
and all the fiber that's in it.
And it smell, which was smell-o-vision, right?
I know, that's, every time I cook this, I'm like, oh, I wish you could be here. I wish you could actually taste it and you could actually smell it, because that just,
I've never thought of using Worcestershire, how do you say it?
yeah, I'm with you.
On, to give it that meaty, like,
Yeah.
whatever, taste. Smell.
So, and you know, when I do steaks, of course, or grass-fed organic steaks,
Right.
because my son is not going to give up meat.
Neither is my husband, so.
Yeah, never. I do the Worcester and I do tamari. So it's like tamari is a gluten-free soy sauce.
Okay, all right.
So do those two things, and then
Okay.
of course the mushrooms on top of it, and it's fantastic. So our spinach and our mushrooms are actually pretty much done, and it's just the chicken that we're waiting on. The chicken, you cook it to 165 degrees. Let me turn that over again. The biggest thing is you want to make sure that there's no pink in the middle of it, because I don't know about you, but I don't have a thermometer at my house that I use. I just make sure that the pink's out, and if I have any question about it, I just kind of
Yeah.
like cut it and make sure that it's not pink in the middle.
I don't ever.
So does anybody have any questions for us right now? Anything?
No?
No? Man.
This is so good.
This is quiet. What about you, Kim? You want to lead the show. What are we going to talk about?
What are we going to talk about? There was something I wanted to ask and I don't remember, and this is the problem with my brain.
Okay, salt, that was it. You don't say you don't have to have Himalayan salt. Like, you can use iodized salt. You told me that one time.
Yes, I did. And so, the thing with the salt and the iodized salt is iodine is good for our thyroids.
Right.
And when we talk about hormones and the balance, I'm so glad you brought that question up. Because you have to balance the thyroid and the adrenal glands to balance the hormones.
Okay.
Because your hormones are actually last.
Right.
When we're balancing stuff. So your adrenal glands and your thyroid gland run on things like selenium, iodine, and the salt has iodine in it. Because once upon a time we used to get goiters.
Yeah.
People would get a goiter, and that's because they didn't have any iodine.
Okay.
You can only get iodine usually from like seafood products, like seaweed and things out of the ocean. So the Mortons put iodine in the salt. I think it was like, I don't know, the 30s or something like that,
Huh.
back in the day. Put that in there, and then you notice that all the people that were like puffy, and
Yeah.
ladies used to be a lot bigger back,
Right.
years ago.
Okay.
That's because they didn't have any iodine. So the goiters started to go away. They started to lose weight, and that puffiness in their face and their hands and their bodies
Okay.
went away because they were getting iodine in their salt.
And you've been told, I've been told, don't use salt, table salt, all that. all
And
the
so
time.
everything kind of goes through these phases. Like,
Yeah.
I think it was like in the 80s, everybody was worried about cardiovascular disease. And so
Yes.
they said, don't use salt.
Right.
Well, too much salt will raise your blood pressure.
Right.
But salt, like a little bit of table salt, especially the iodized kind of salt, has the benefit of helping your thyroid and it gives it flavor, but it doesn't raise your blood pressure like a lot.
Okay.
It's more processed foods.
Okay.
And the-
Potato chips,
Yeah,
right?
the sodium that's in processed food has absolutely no iodine in it, and
Right.
it's a different kind of salt.
Okay, I didn't
That-
know that.
Yeah, and so that is where you get high blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, like you get the fluid retention, it's from that kind of stuff.
Okay.
A lot of times, when people think that they've had too much salt because their fingers and stuff
Yes.
swell, you're actually dehydrated.
Okay.
Like, you know, if you're walking and it's really hot outside, and you're like, your hands are down here,
Yes.
like, oh, you gotta hold them up.
Yeah.
And like, oh, well, somebody, if you had a hamburger,
Right.
for that might do part of it, but it's also like you're just dehydrated, and
Oh,
if
so
you
drink more water.
water, you won't have that.
Okay, so it's not the salt. I love
not the
that,
salt.
and I like that you explained it.
And you don't like put gallons of salt on anything.
Right,
either. Like,
no.
a little bit of a table salt
Yeah.
is not hurting anyone.
Okay,
So I'd rather people get iodized salt than some of the other salts,
right.
because it works for the thyroid also.
Okay.
Let's turn chicken and see where it's at.
Put it in the juices.
I do have a knife.
Yay.
If you want to check it.
No, we're not done yet.
Yeah, that's good though. Show that. So yeah, definitely not done. It's still pink, and we want that to cook through. So if we cut it like that while we're letting it cook through, it'll actually cook it faster.
Should I flip it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I have been trying to do meatless Mondays, which then ends up going into meatless Tuesdays because I have leftovers. So I've done that for 3 weeks.
So what have you been making?
Just like vegetables. I've been making a pasta salad with chickpea pasta, not because I can't do the regular pasta for some reason, that upsets my stomach. Doing that with some sauce, and then mostly salad, like pasta salad. I love pasta.
So where do you go
salad.
for your protein? You might have pasta salad too though.
Protein, I don't know. I do a meal replacement shake, which has protein in it, but only like 19 grams or 20 grams. Or
Okay,
something
but still,
like
that's a protein one.
that. Okay.
So what kind of protein? What's your meal replacement shake?
What is the name? Pharmacy.
Oh yes. Okay, we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna do it. I can't wait to see it. So Kim also sells pharmacy, which is by European standards instead of United States standards, which meaning it doesn't have as much toxins in it. I'm really excited to look at it and see if it's
Yeah,
something
she
I
needs
can
to look at it
recommend.
and make sure,
Yes.
right.
Sorry, we have a question.
Yes, Kelsey asked if she has a smaller pan, would she still separate out the mushroom and spinach first?
I do, just because of turning the chicken, and getting that all started and being able to stir this over here while that's cooking.
Oh yeah? Yeah. I told him, I said, you need to watch.
Good girl, you listen to your mom. So Kelsey, can she cook then? Like,
Can Mama cook? She can cook. She thinks she can't cook, but she can cook. It's getting caramelized. That looks really good.
yes. So the slower that you cook your chicken, the moister it's going to be.
Okay, because Jerry hates chicken because it's always dry. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why.
But if you cook it slow like this, and that's a lot of times these little. So this little thing, I got it at Target. You can also get them at on Amazon, of course. And one of the things that we are going to talk about in one of our sessions, or if you haven't seen, so Health Interventions is, I have a website page, Health Intervention, and a Facebook page, obviously where we break down this, that I do more of the cooking and the lifestyle, and we talk about food, like the everyday kind of stuff. And then there's MarshaJonesNP.com. That's the one where it's more medical. That's
Right.
where it's more about the hormones and the xenoestrogens and that kind of stuff. So if you need to go to both of those and subscribe to them for the email list, because you're going to get, from the Health Interventions, you're going to get more of the food stuff. On the Marsha Jones NP, you're going to get more of the medical stuff. I try to put it in both, but it's really hard to kind of do all that in two different places. But know that this is more the food, the other one is more the medical stuff. So if you're worried about your hormone imbalance, if you're worried about health-related stuff, cancer prevention, that's Marsha Jones. Stir up those mushrooms and stuff a little bit
I'm
more
gonna
there.
flip them over right
Yeah.
there. Ooh, look at there.
Okay, so this is, Kitty, why don't you show, this is when the mushrooms are done.
Look how nice
So you can see how brown they are and how they're kind of I hate to say mushy, but soft. Okay, what's our next question, Princess?
Earlier you mentioned a soy sauce replacement. She uses coconut aminos. Do you
Yes.
recommend the one you mentioned? If so, what was it called?
You can use coconut amines, or you can use the tamari. It's just that they're gluten free. And actually you can use tamari and coconut beans because they have a little bit of a different flavor, but they are a nice mix. So if you're, that's the thing with gluten, it is hidden in so many different things that you don't even realize. So that's just one of those little tips on that one. Did you have another question? No.
Is that Kayla?
Kayla.
My other daughter.
Man, you girls are good. Watching mom and supporting her.
Okay, now when it starts getting like this, do we put anything else more in it or just leave it?
If it starts to get dry,
Yeah.
you could put more in there.
Okay.
But that's why I said in the beginning, we kind of like coated it pretty good
Yeah.
with the olive oil because we knew that.
It's getting there. Just a little bit back in there. Yeah.
So I'd flip it again so that open side would. So the other thing so we talked about making sure you cook your chicken slow so that it stays super moist when you cook it that way. You don't want to cover the chicken because if we had left that cover on there, it would actually got more juices.
Yeah.
And it would have ruined the other part.
Okay.
So that's why I don't put that on there. Now, if we were going to put something like a goat cheese or a feta on here afterwards, oh, that's something.
Yes,
We should
it
have some
does.
goat cheese.
Oh. That sounds really good.
I come up with things as I go along. If you would be in my kitchen, like where I get in the refrigerator and start going, oh, wait a minute, let me grab that, and start throwing like all these things together. And then that's where I post the pictures on health interventions. So I'm like, oh, okay, somebody might want to do this with theirs.
Yeah. This looks good.
But then I would put the lid on just to kind of like melt it up there a
it.
little bit. But yeah, goat cheese would be nice on that. It's very, very rich. And when we talked about goat cheese one other time, or the feta, they're so rich that it only takes just a little bit of that, just for the flavor, and for you people who love cheese and can't, get off of your addiction. Just a little sprinkle of that will kind of feed that addiction, and you're good.
I know that's why I've been starting to buy feta instead of other cheese because of that. You told me that. What was I going to say? It's gone. Is cheese considered a protein or not?
Cheese is considered a protein, but it has too much fat in it.
Yeah.
And too much of the other hormones and the other things.
Okay,
that
so
you
it's
don't wanna-
not good. They,
Yeah.
you
When
got
we're doing hormones.
right. No.
No.
Okay.
That is not a protein source.
Okay.
It also is not a vitamin D source. That's a question I get all the time.
Oh.
Is people are like, oh, I drank more milk because I want more vitamin D. No.
Huh.
The only kind of milk that has vitamin D in it is the whole milk that's fortified with vitamin D.
Yeah.
And then it's got so much milk fat in it that you've just wasted all your health benefit. Just take a vitamin D pill.
Right.
D3 with K2 because the K2 helps it to absorb better and go into the bone.
Ooh.
Oh my lordy, look at that.
Getting crispy.
Okay, and I think that should be done now.
Okay, where do,
All right, so now let's make it pretty. My favorite part.
Okay, she gets to do the plating. We just watched where there's chopped, doing all this plating and stuff. That's what I thought of.
Well, it is. It's true. Like they just throw like a few little things on there.
Yeah.
Like that. I'm gonna put our chicken breast on here.
oh, yum.
And then
I want you to turn this
all
off.
about presentation. I mean, I guess you could share this with somebody. Because that was like enough mushrooms for more than one meal, but I can tell you that when I eat this, I will eat the whole thing myself.
Yeah.
All right. What do you think?
That looks delicious. And it smells so good in here.
You just put that in there. Okay.
You can put that on.
Okay. So. Oh man, I thought I had a fork in there. So Kim can try this and see how good it is. Oh, mine's on. Okay, well she's gonna have to tell us how good it is later.
I'll post on.
She'll post on there how good it tastes. But this just.
Because she's letting me take this home apparently, right?
Yes! You made it. You get to take it home. All right, so what do you think?
Speaking of cheese, what brand of a plant-based cheese is a good choice?
There's really only like two that I know of. I use Daya a lot, and Daya and oh my gosh, Vita Life, I think is what it's called. Voya Life or Vita Life, whatever those two brands are. I usually tend to go towards the Daya instead of the other one. It's more readily available in our restaurants, our grocery stores. Is why I usually use that one also. And they actually make a really good pizza. So if you've seen the gluten-free, dairy-free pizzas made by Daya, they're actually pretty good.
They are? Okay, because I'm
Yeah.
afraid sometimes to try it.
So yeah, I've read all the labels on the crust and read all this stuff, and it's pretty good. The other thing is, I like more toppings.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I want more toppings. So just put more toppings on it if you want, but the cheese part is good. And I just bought some other crust the other day. It's a chickpea pizza crust to see how that tastes. I'll be sure to let everybody
Just
know
the
about
crust,
that.
or is it
Just
pizza?
the crust?
Okay, I never saw that before. I know I was going to ask you, soy, is it made with soy? Is that bad for hormones? Because, you know, you hear, I mean, I read too much is what happens.
And that's why you subscribe to MarshaJonesMD.com.
That's right.
Well, that was good. No, because the problem isn't actually the estrogen, it's the way that it's metabolized.
Okay.
So soy doesn't hurt you.
Okay, see, the stuff I read.
Yes, soy doesn't hurt you. It's making sure that you have lots of fiber, like these mushrooms
Yeah.
have a lot of fiber, that kind of stuff, that you're eliminating it and you're processing it right, because otherwise it just kind of keeps recirculating throughout the body.
Okay.
And that's when it goes to like the breast and when it goes to the ovaries and it starts causing the other problems.
Okay, all right.
So yeah, you can have it in moderation. There's also phytoestrogens. I do have a blog about that on the Marsha Jones MP website about phytoestrogens, because things like red clover, soy, tofu, all those things
Yeah.
they're questionable.
Yeah.
But as long as you do it correctly and you balance everything else, there's no problem.
Okay.
You can't use it all.
Yeah.
And especially as you start getting towards the later years, like
Yeah.
menopausal years,
Yeah.
if you eat more of food with soy in it,
Yeah.
it's going to naturally boost your estrogens and you wouldn't need a replacement.
Okay, because I don't take a replacement and I always wanted to.
And it helps your bones, because estrogen is good for bones, it's good for breast development,
Okay.
it's good for your brain, it's good for, and that actually is another one, a blog that I just put up, so you have to look for that too. See, that
I
one's,
read all her stuff too.
that one's on the Marsha Jones one, not the health interventions one.
But then I have all these questions, like, what about this? So.
And that's when you ask.
That's
You can-
right.
You can shoot an email.
That's right.
All right. So what else? Any other questions? We're good? This was fun.
It was fun.
So if anybody else wants to be on and help cook something and get to take it home and
That's
taste
right. I
it,
was gonna say, do it.
do it. And then I'm going to find out all about this pharmacy, and that's spelled with an F. Oh, let me
Yeah.
see it. Okay, come on, let's do it for us. Since she came and did this.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm really excited to find out about this, and
Let
I
me
will
know.
let
Yes.
you know what we find and don't find. And I'm excited. Okay, so thanks, guys. Y'all have a good day. We'll see you next week.
Bye.